Welcome back to Giant Monster Games. Today we are altering Dispel. Dispel is a blue instant, it costs 1 blue mana, and it reads, counter target instant spell. At first glance, this card may look pretty bad, because it only hits instants, meaning it's not stopping majority of the big threats that your opponents can be putting onto the table. So you may be asking yourself, Adrian, why are you doing an alter on a card that is seemingly not very good? Well, my giant monster watching minions, it's because this card actually sees a variety of play in Modern and Standard. But why, you ask? Because most non-creature spells in constructed formats are instants. A few examples: Path to Exile, Lightning Bolt, Collected Company, Remand, Dismember. This list can go on for quite a while because there are a ton of red burn, blue counter, and black removal in every format, and Dispel stops most of them. Now notably, there is one major card that this does not stop, and that is Abrupt Decay. Mind you, there's only a handful of cards out there that do stop Abrupt Decay, and none of them are seeing any constructed play right now. Now to be fair, Dispel spends majority of its life in the sideboard, mainly because main decking a card that could have 0 good targets is a terrible idea. Once you know what your opponent is playing, it often makes its second game migration into the main deck. Let's talk about the decks that actually run this card. The two big ones are Blue-White Control and combo decks that are running blue. Combo decks are basically racing to assemble their combo so they can end the game, where control decks are trying to lock down their opponent. In both cases, Dispel is a cheap defensive card that fights to keep your cards on the table, while allowing you to achieve your long-term goals. We have covered what Dispel is used for and where it calls home, so let's talk about other cards that are similar to Dispel and why you would use them versus this card in a deck. Our first card is widely used, it's Mana Leak. Mana Leak is generally mainboarded over Dispel because it hits everything for an additional 1 generic mana. Functionally though, Mana Leak and Dispel are actually doing two quite different things. Mana Leak's aim is to disrupt your opponent's tempo by forcing them to pay an extra 3 mana here and there, whether it's mid-game, early game, or late game, where Dispel is basically aiming to kill something dead in its tracks, no matter what. The second card is Negate, which often replaces Dispel in a lot of decks because it targets a much broader range of cards. It's usually used to slow down Tron players, or combo players, or decks that are trying to play specific cards that are not creature, not instants, obviously. And lastly, because someone will bring it up if I don't mention it, Remand. Decks that play Dispel, for the most part, do not play Remand. Why? Because Dispel is a defensive mechanism used to keep your cards on the table. You're protecting your stuff. Remand is used to disrupt your opponent's tempo while giving you a card advantage. If your objective is to keep your permanents on the table, then countering a Path to Exile, putting it back into your opponent's hand, is not going to do you much good. That completes the border extension for Dispel. If you found this video helpful or entertaining, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Until next time, don't forget to game like a giant monster. If you're interested in commissioning a card alter, please reach out to me at the email in the video description below. Also, while you're here, take a look at the previous card alter video, or some of the other video series right here on the Giant Monster Games YouTube channel.